Hi, welcome to episode 51 of the Austin Downbeat. I'm Kat, your host. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I have a great guest for you today. Actually, I have 5 great guests for you today, all wrapped into one pretty awesome band. But first, let's do the rundown like we do. Here are just a few people that are playing this week, April 25th through May 1st in Austin, Texas. On the 25th, you have Allie Holder at Geraldine's. Jerron Marshall is at Antone's. On the 26th, you have Texas Radio Live at Guero's Taco Bar. So on that night, Sarah Hickman, Madame Radar, and Ray Bonneville will be playing. On the 27th, my pal Ray Prim, so good, playing at So Far Sounds. Christine Renner is at Swan Dive, and Pack is doing their weekly residency at Saxon Pub. They're super fun to watch too. On the 28th, Scott Strickland is at Mozart's Coffee Roasters. Brandon Padier is at the Armadillo Den. And my guests tonight, West Texas Exiles, are playing alongside Nick Parr and the Selfless Lovers, as well as Jomo and the Possum Posse. They're all at Sagebrush. On the 29th, Black Odyssey is at the Austin Blues Fest. Our AJ Vallejo is at Iron Wolf Ranch and Distillery, and Urban Heat's coming back into town to play at Hotel Vegas. On May 1st, you have Monday Night Supper Club at El Mercado South. Bob Schneider doing his thing, Lonely Land at Saxon Pub, as well as the BMI Songwriter Series at Saxon Pub. That does it for the rundown. I like to check bands in town. You can check whatever you'd like to be sure to find your favorite artists and go see some live music this week. My guests this week are 5 very talented gentlemen from West Texas. They are Colin Gilmore, Eric Harrison, Marco Gutierrez, Trinidad Leal, and Daniel Davis. And they make up the new project called West Texas Exiles. They are hitting the scene very strong, and they call themselves Y'all-ternative Americana, which I think is so cute. I had a blast talking to these guys. They definitely piqued my attention when I learned about them. I went and saw them live, and I had a smile on my face the whole time. Such an honor and a pleasure to get to talk to these guys all together coming from their studio. They have lots on the horizon, so be sure to check them out. I will not steer you wrong. Enjoy my conversation with the West Texas Exiles. Welcome to the show, West Texas Exiles. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us, Kat.
Yeah, I know. Okay, let's do a quick introduction. So we have, I think you're my favorite drummer to watch, Trinidad. Seriously,
wow.
we're gonna talk about this because I couldn't take my eyes off of you. You were so much fun to watch. So Trinidad Leal, yeah. Is that how you say your last name?
That's my last name, Leal.
Leal, perfect. We have
Spanish.
Nice.
Loyal, yes. I'm a 7th generation Texan, but my family originated from the Canary Islands.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you are drummer extraordinaire.
Thank you very much. Yes, I've been playing for a long time and have such a blast with the Exiles. Just the dynamics of it all and everything, you know. It's kind of everything I've always wanted to do musically. I'm doing it right now. So that's what I love about it.
Yeah. Wow, we're gonna dive into that a little bit because I'm really curious. You guys, as a group, are new, which I love, kind of catching you at this place and time. But you, as individuals, are not new to this whole game. So we're gonna kind of dive into that. We also have Eric Harrison in the hat, in the wide brim hat. Nice to see you. Let's see. We have Colin Gilmore over there in the corner. Nice to see you. We have Daniel Davis there in the sunglasses, so mysterious.
You can't tell.
Yeah.
So bright.
I love it. And then we have Marco Gutierrez there in the green. Oh, put your sunglasses on. Awesome. Well, welcome, guys. It's rare that I have this many people on. I don't do as many like full bands, but I'm so excited to have you all on because like I was saying earlier, I don't know if I was recording yet, but I saw you guys at the Saxon, and I hadn't heard your music yet. I was kind of seeing the buzz, and visually, you guys have such a solid output. Your logo and the things that we see visually as listeners is so solid. And then to see you and have it match or exceed, actually, energetically, for it to be so, I think at the end of the day, it just made a lot of sense when I put it all together, finally hearing you. So I'm curious, who's the creative in the group with the aesthetic and the visual and the logos and all of that? Okay.
Daniel's our designer, and then some of the collaboration with a few of the other photographers. But yeah,
Yeah.
Daniel's locking in all the visual that's happening.
All the shapes and colors.
Yeah.
You know.
It's such a big part of it, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, our first few photos came from Carly Dumanil. How do you say Carly's last name? Man, she's Carly. I'm sorry, Carly Hotel Turkey. She's taken a lot of photos, so we kind of got lucky initially when we played our first show. Actually, at Hotel Turkey, she brought us around, which is in Turkey, Texas. It's just an anomaly of a town. It's amazing. And right before we played, we went over to this old school's gymnasium, and he just like brought us through these spots and was like, do this, do that, take these pictures. She already had like a vision,
Mhm.
and it really worked for our initial, splash, really. And then Daniel kind of runs with these photos and does all of our, promotional stuff. He's on the website. He's like, anything that looks awesome is Daniel. Outside of maybe Dirk Fowler, he came up with our original poster. He's a designer in Lubbock, and we still work with him. He's an iconic designer as it is, and so we kind of wanted to start that way. And he kind of came up with the original snake, logo.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, so that's and then Gunner, our latest picture is Gunner.
Yeah, Gunnar Wadowski took our latest photos. So.
With the
Sweet.
He's a fellow West Texas exile in the sense that he left Amarillo and moved out here.
Yeah,
So,
he's an exile.
yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Just so I'm 10 years here in Texas, in Austin, so I'm not from here. And West Texas is definitely something that I'm not going to claim to really understand, because I just don't think I can. I'm not from there. So what is the rear view mirror a little clearer, having kind of gotten out of West Texas, and now you're kind of like, pointing back to where you're from? What is it about West Texas that kind of brought you all together? And because whatever you're doing, it does seem quite perfect, and like this perfect storm. And the fact that do you all have it in common that you're all from West Texas? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it came from Marco, really. Marco's the originator of this kind of situation. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I think West Texas is the kind of place where you see a fellow West Texan and there's just like immediate kind of camaraderie. I definitely, yeah, the rear view is a little clearer now because when I left, I was 19, living in El Paso my entire life, and the first thing you want to do when you're 19 is to get on the road and play music and get the hell out.
right.
Yeah, but I mean, from my experience, I think 2 years after I left, I kind of realized how beautiful a place that I left behind. And yeah, I've lived in Austin for about 13 years now, and I just I miss it more than ever. And yeah, I want to say a few of the guys have a shared experience.
it's varied. I think it's varied. Like
Yeah, well, Texas is so big, first of all. So, like, Marco's really the furthest west.
Yeah, it doesn't get more west than El Paso.
I'm from Amarillo, and then Colin, Trinidad, and Eric are from Lubbock. So, very different places. Well, Amarillo and Lubbock are pretty much the same, but yeah, just a rough place, especially as an artist, to kind of in my situation, just to kind of find a place musically and make it worthwhile. But it made me kind of go inward creatively and like those kind of hard things were good, just had to really see the benefits.
Yeah, like anything. What do you guys miss about the places that you're from specifically?
I miss chile colorado enchiladas. My grandma's chile rellenos, mole. Yeah. I think the first time I came to Central Texas, I didn't really understand the different kinds of Mexican food, so I ordered some red enchiladas, and there was beans and meat in the sauce, and that's something I had never experienced, because a border Mexican food is way different than Tex-Mex. So that's one of the main things
I miss Lubbock Tex-Mex. I worked for an Italian restaurant that served queso, so yeah. But it's in. There's a lot of spots in Lubbock that me and my wife and I can't speak for these guys, but we really miss.
Yeah, it's
mostly that.
It's food
It's
for
food
me
based,
too.
yeah.
Food and
Yeah.
having a dumpster in the alley.
Yeah, man.
also
It was
nice.
I like that. Yeah, it was nice.
Especially this time of year. One thing that I miss is not having allergies.
Yeah.
Out in the desert.
Yeah, we had. Well, it's different allergies. It's dust.
Dust
and Lubbock.
yeah.
It's Lubbock. This time of year, it blows just super hard. Like the whole spring. It is just a storm after just like. It's like, and I ran track growing up, so it was, the track field, you run one way and you're just like hauling ass, and then you hit the other way and you're just like nothing, it's
Wind resistant.
Yeah,
It's weird. It's weird that like that's not normal for a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
wind like that.
Yeah.
Like, because growing
Yeah,
up,
growing up,
it
you thought
was
that's
just
how
like,
it
oh,
was.
it's just another like shitty day. Like, wind's blowing 8 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's brown. The sky's brown today.
Yeah.
it's fine.
Orange
Culture windows.
skies, yeah. Oh my god. It's
Colin, what about you? What do you miss?
I miss, growing up there on and off, like when I was born, it was a big community there of just hooligans. They're like hippie, intellectual, just hellcats, wild, completely wild, but full of passion for music and art, and they all stuck together because anybody who doesn't in Lubbock just kind of like goes and withers. It's not a town that's traditionally supported music. It's coming around now for the first time,
Right,
but they say that when Jerry Lee Lewis became a star, he came back to his hometown in Louisiana, little town, and they threw him a parade. And Buddy Holly became a star, and he came back to Lubbock, and they were like, "Who are you? What are you doing?" Even after he became famous, and it kind of stuck that way for a while. But it also, I think, that really fostered a strong sense of community that stayed. That a lot of the people in Lubbock from that era moved to Austin, some moved to California, some moved to Europe and New York and places as not like Lubbock as they possibly could, but a lot of them really kept in good contact, And Trinidad and I only met recently, but it seems like every time we talk, we discover a new group of people that we knew that had an impact on us. It's pretty, and it's that's here in Austin too in its own way, but it's just different. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about you as individuals. And one thing that I'm curious, because each of you has such a rich history that you're sort of bringing into this new project. And I'm curious what I want to talk to each of you and kind of tell us sort of your abridged version of how you got into. I'm always amazed, and I think there's so much value in people that do what you do, and that's why I do this, is because I think we are so desensitized and take for granted as listeners what goes into what you're doing. I've seen you guys on the stage, and it is 100% giving to us. And also, and it's very vulnerable, right? What you guys are doing. You make it look like it's not, but I feel like it is very vulnerable what you do. And so I'm very interested in how you guys arrived at this place to be like, yes, this is what I want to do. And also, hey, I'm actually really good at it. Like, I think I'm good enough to do it. I think that that's a big moment in a person to be like, hey, I actually don't doubt myself and I'm good and I want to go for it. So let's just go kind of.
I don't know. I think we're operating on purely delusion.
Delusions.
And if you haven't gotten there yet, that's okay too.
Figuring it out. Yeah.
Daniel, let's start with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit, Daniel, just kind of your abridged sort of journey to this place?
Oh man. Well, initially,
Yeah, give the dirty, Dan.
the delusion began
Oh.
in church. Yeah, like I grew up in church, and it was a rather large church, you know, like thousands of members, whatever. And I spent a lot of time there, got really involved with the music, and at one point was like playing like up to like 5 services a week.
Wow.
Weekend services and all that stuff. So did that, and then I met a guy actually at that church named Ryan Colwell. He's a singer-songwriter who lives in Texas.
Hey, Ryan.
Another West Texas boy.
Yeah.
And that was my first bar experience, you know, playing music outside the church, and I loved it because I was like 18, 19, and was able to drink alcohol and nobody asked any questions. You know?
Wow.
Off the record, I
At
mean,
church.
actually that didn't happen. But that was great. And then I played with a guy named Zach Wilkerson, played keys with him for many years, and just really got to know a lot of people, you know, kind of on the Texas scene, and you know, skip a few years and, you know, moved down to Wimberley in 2020 from Amarillo, and later that year ended up playing at a show in this opening band before Marco and Trinidad, playing with the Dirty River Boys, and ended up meeting them and hanging out all night, and we played music till the sun came up, and that's kind of how our musical journey began together, attached to my whole life story. So
I love it. What are you taking, Daniel, specifically from your, you know, myriad of experiences? Is there anything specific that comes to mind that you're kind of like, hey, I want to bring that into the West Texas Exiles? Something that you've learned or something that you want to try, or, you know, a new sort of thing? Is there anything that you
honestly, I feel like most of what I can offer, I'm able to do that with this band, just from, you know, I used to have a marketing company and did graphic design and web stuff, and so instead of doing it for clients, I get to do it for us. And, you know, same thing with music, you know, instead of being just a sideman, you know, just playing one instrument, you know, it's like get to write songs and sing and collaborate. And so I feel like it all kind of plays in.
I love that. I'm so happy for you guys because I feel like you're all really happy doing this. Like that comes through when you see you play live. You all look like you're having a great time, especially you, Trinidad. But we'll get to you.
This is a one in a million thing when you can find people to play with that we're basically like a family, you know, and it doesn't happen a lot. And it's something to be, and that's why it shines. That's what you saw on the stage. That's my role as a drummer, is to bring the heartbeat and the energy and the spirit and my experience, knowledge, you know, and what I've been able to do on my journey. So thank you.
So much fun. Colin, your turn. Tell us a little bit about your kind of journey into here and what it is that you feel like maybe you can bring that's maybe new or different or.
Yeah, you know, I grew up with watching my mom sing and play guitar, and my dad also. You know, they split up when I was pretty young, but my dad would always come back to visit, and they would play together, and then also all their friends would find whoever's house was the best. Usually my dad's parents' house, to set up in the living room and play. And then at Jesse Taylor, the guitar player, Jesse Taylor, his mother would always babysit me and my sister. And she lived in a really rough part of Lubbock, kind of just really bad,
East
the east side. Yeah. And they would, but she would let them put up the full band and play a loud rock and roll show on the porch.
Oh,
So
cool.
from the get-go, it was like I came from a background of like people strumming their guitar in the living room and then playing a loud rock and roll show in the backyard.
Wow.
And I didn't even know it at the time, but like Joe Ely, who my dad was playing with, he went off to London and became a star opening for the Clash and the Rolling Stones and bands like that. And what happened before I even, because when I was a teenager, I started listening to punk rock and things like that. I was kind of rebelling, but and a lot of it worked. My mom was like, "Good God, what are you listening to?" But then another thing I listened to, she'd go, "Oh yeah, I remember going to see them when I was young, and the Clash came to Lubbock, and my sister took them to Prairie Dog Town, and like,
Wow.
it was, I didn't realize it till later, but there was a very strong musical and cultural connection between West Texas and England, and Ireland also.
Mm.
And that really, just throughout the years, that really informed me, a strong sense of like, play an earnest song, I play, spill your heart out, but also just don't bore the audience. Get your hooks in them and energize the room. And to me, I want to bring that to this band. My kind of sense of melody is one of my more stronger suits, I think. But I also get it from the band. I come here and I'm like, oh yeah, there's people that do this and do it right, So I'm hoping to keep them doing what they're already doing. So
It's so funny that you say that, because I've been, I tend to, day of an interview, I listen to music again, like kind of ad nauseum, and I really try to get it to go deep. And then I think a lot about you, like, okay, like, how do I put this into words? And I feel like you get your hooks into us. I feel like you are dynamic. And, I listen to a lot of music and I see a lot live. And one of the things that I love is when I am surprised where you go with a melody or with a break, or Trinidad, your drum pattern changes. And I'm like, whoa, like I love being surprised, because our brains want resolution, our brains want pattern, our brains want it to be organized in a certain way when we listen. But you can do that and also do what you guys are doing, which is kind of sink those hooks in and then keep driving us down the track and surprise us. And I feel like you definitely accomplished that, like 100% from track to track. And it's like every track does that. It's weird. I mean, it's great, but it's not common.
Yeah, well, that's definitely. We're trying. This is the music we like, and so many of us, we just really bounce off each other and just like yes and each other into that base,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so working. Like it really, really is. All right, Trinidad, your turn. Yay.
I think just like what Colin was talking about, my mom, like, she totally supported. I had a brother that was like 13 years older than me, and he was a drummer, and he would hide his drumsticks from me. And when I was like 8 or so, I found them and bang on a kit. And anyway, but my mom, she knew that I had something, and so she would work, and I'd go to school, I'd come home from school, she'd come home from work, and then she would leave to go shopping or do something for like an hour and a half, couple hours, and I would play drums, get to play drums. So she totally supported it. And my career has been through the 90s into the 2000s, playing all kinds of styles of music. And I led like a power trio for a while, played all over the world. I've gotten mix it up with a lot of really cool cats. The Gordy Johnston, the Grady guys, Jeff Pincus from Butthole Surfers, and the Honky guys. And I've gotten to record with a bunch of different people, but it's basically kind of led to what we're doing right here. You know, it's like dynamically, that's the other thing, is becoming a sideman, cutting teeth with some of the R&B guys here, like Soul Man Sam Evans, Blues Boy Hubbard. There's a few of those cats that taught me about playing in the pocket and listening. And this guy right here, Marco, the band called the Dirty River Boys that I joined a few years ago, also showed me a lot about playing Americana style folk music, playing lighter, because I was known as a heavy hitter, you know, and I still am, I guess, in a way, but I feel like my dynamics have developed immensely, and they contribute to what the Exiles are doing. And I can't wait till you hear what we have coming. It's like today we were mixing the new single, incredible, just some of the coolest stuff I've ever done, and really looking forward to what is developing. And we're just coming up on a year old, so and so many cool things have been happening. So yeah, my role, like I said, being the heartbeat and bringing the positivity and spirit, what we have. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you really do that. I could not take my eyes off of you. And that's common. Like, I do gravitate toward bass and drums, and that, I mean, I pay attention to you other guys too, but that's always what I'm always drawn to. And I was just absolutely delighted.
It means a lot, because like Jesse Dayton's one of my heroes, and he was talking about there's so many drummers. They're kind of a dime a dozen. You know, drummers, you get but just to be a unique drummer, to be able to put yourself into it, which I think I've learned how to do. And like Lemmy from Motorhead say, your name's a winner. He told me, I'm Trinidad, you know, it's like right on. So
I know.
Yeah, so I appreciate all your good words. You're making my day, and you're putting light in my spirit. Thank you.
Oh, good. Anytime you need that, just call me and I'll just remind you about how awesome you guys are. Keep me on speed dial. Marco, let's dive into you.
Yeah, I guess at a very young age I wanted to be a fighter pilot, and my dad gave me a guitar, and that slowly started to change. My father then took me to the Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas, when I was about 14 to see the Rolling Stones.
Wow.
And prior to that, my dad, you know, looked me in the eye before going to that show, and he said, son, there are two kinds of people in this world, Beatles fans and Stones fans. And I ain't raising no Beatles fans. Yeah. I went to see the Rolling Stones, and that, you know, solidified me, ruining my life in the best way, rock and roll.
I love it.
Yeah,
I think you didn't go see the Beatles.
Yeah,
That's been weird.
Beatles Marco, yeah, Beatles Marco would be hilarious.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
Guys, we're gonna start rules.
No, I love it. Beatles Marco would be.
Yeah.
I love things would be different. Yeah. But yeah, you know, I just out in El Paso, there's not a big hunger for the kind of music that we play, Americana, folk rock. So I don't know, I kind of just started to discover that on my own. A lot of my friends were at the time really into like kind of emo, you know, that kind of music, and I was too. I think like Colin as well. I was really into punk rock, to kind of just like I was a nerdy kid. And I think my outlet was, you know, Operation Ivy and Anti-Flag and Against Me. So yeah, that's kind of the foundation of the way I started kind of viewing music. And you know, when I was 19, I got invited to join a few guys on stage out in off of Highway 28 in New Mexico, and that shortly after became the Dirty River Boys. And these two guys were very serious about it. They were quite a few years. They were older than me, and like I said earlier, 19. You know, when you get the chance to get on the road and make a little money, and you're not going to say no. So yeah, we got to do that. Fast forward 13 years. Well, actually, I take that back. One of the first times we played here as the Dirty River Boys in Austin, Eric was running sound for the band. So I've known Eric, you know, for a long time. He's yeah, he's seen me go from bell bottom Western shirt Marco to buzzed hair skinny jean Marco, and now whatever this is now.
Rock and roll is hell, Mark.
Rock and roll, yeah, I'll take that. But yeah, so we did that we still do that. Dirty River Boys, we still play.
They're still kicking. Dirty River Boys are awesome.
Yeah.
Y'all are amazing.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Still rocking hard.
But yeah, you know, throughout the years, you know, we had a lineup change. So I met Trinidad. We got him in the band, and we had a few other drummers. And I remember seeing and hearing Trinidad for the first time. He didn't miss a beat. He was passionate in the way that he played passionately in the way that our band needed, and you know, it was an instant fit. I'm an only child, but he is the closest thing I've ever had to a brother in my life. Yeah, you know, and then well, I met Daniel, you know, like you said, out at that after the show at a house party. I heard him sing some songs, and I knew that was it. We're gonna do something. Met Colin a little more recently. Heard his songs, loved it, and yeah, that's I have a song called Exile, and we had a band name, and I threw out, well, let's call ourselves the West Texas Exiles, and at first I don't think it was quite the right thing, but we figured that
no, we just thought about it, chewed on it, but yeah, it's like it's everything.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
our story.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
totally.
And then I think yeah, that's kind of where we are now. And I think you mentioned something about vulnerability on stage and kind of giving it your all. I've been doing this for 13 years, and you know, I still don't have that confidence, but I think that you much fake it till you make it. And I don't know, like with this group of people, I think we can all be ourselves. I personally be myself the most on stage than I ever have in my life. So anyway, that's the story.
That's wonderful that you can have that, and that you do seem like brothers, and you do seem like you really love each other, and that comes across too. And it's just really, it's nice to see that in men, you know. It really is. It's really nice to see that affection and literally scratching each other's backs over there. I see you.
He gives a great back massage.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He does.
Oh, good to know. All right, Eric.
Like what you bring to the table, and being 13 years on the road, I think what I brought to the table is you have to be friends. You got to be best friends. You have to. That is almost more important than I think having a guy who can shred and play the best guitar. Like, if you get along with that person, if you're not tight with that person, it's not gonna work. And I've got my brothers.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any sort of, you know, ground rules? It's a lot of personalities in the room, and obviously we all have egos, and we just all have like our things. Do you have any sort of ground rules that you have with each other, or how or maybe a different way is like, how do you keep successful relationships between one another? Lots of communication, or how do you do it?
Lots of grace, and we come first. Really, our relationship that comes over the band in a way, like we personal relationships and what we need to do to live life. And if somebody really needs to do something, we're doing that. You know, like we're kind of in it for the long game, and it's really a lot of respect. You know, we've all again done this a long time, and we've been in bands that we don't want to be in, and we're just somehow all of our personalities, there's very little ego actually involved, and it's weird.
That's great.
Just stem from some childhood trauma.
Yeah. You can go back to the maybe West Texas thing, but yeah.
Mm, that's great to hear. What a great example, and that you guys are kind of modeling. It's really nice to see. All right, Eric. Eric,
Yeah.
you're up.
Sorry, go ahead.
I see what you're saying.
No, just reiterating that, like, we have some veterans that we have people that we consult with that have had like a lot of experience in the industry, and
Mhm.
we're talking about what are your strengths, your weaknesses, your pros, your cons, write them down,
Mm.
discuss with each other. That way you identify your roles, you know how to handle things that maybe somebody's having a hard time with. How do we support that person? How do we do that? We're doing things like that, which is what makes this such a one in a million kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Are your partners and wives, girlfriends, are they so loving this work that you're doing within this relationship? I think probably transferring over.
Yeah, they're absolutely super supportive, and I mean they just went with us. They woke up at 6 a.m. and we did MotoGP out at Circuit Americas, and they all came, and so we all hung out, you know, all day long pretty much. And it's, you know, that doesn't happen every time, but when we find moments to really include everybody, and because we don't want this to be a separate part of our lives away from a huge part of our lives.
Yeah.
Like it can't work that way. It
way.
just doesn't work. You know, they're so integrated in our lives that they're basically band members in a way, you know, like we have to consider them for everything.
It's like the long game, like we talked about.
Yeah.
We're in it for the long game, man.
Yeah.
I love
Eric.
that. Okay, Eric, your turn.
Yeah. So I grew up in Lubbock. My dad was a coach, my mom was a math teacher, and I grew up wanting to play sports and football. And then 14, I had a friend in French class basically make me play bass. Be like, you can play bass with me. I was like, I didn't even know what this is. And so I started playing with him. And then, my sister's friend had a band that they were called Mistaken Jamaican. And so I figured out what punk rock was through all of this. And that's what really resonated with me, the simplicity of it, the energy of it. And it was like, that's what made me think I could do music, was punk rock. It's like, I don't know this, but I can figure that out. And I get this energy. And so just through playing in my high school band and touring through that band, like quitting sports to go on tours in high school, like little stuff like that, doing that, moved away, toured more with another band, decided there's a lot of things I didn't want to do in that way, so moved back to Texas and went to school for sound technology at South Plains College out in Loveland, Texas, around where Waylon Jennings is from. He's up there.
Dude, man.
And it was an amazing experience. And really, I've always been in kind of a support role in a band, whether some of it's writing lyrics or what. I'm never the lead singer, but I'm kind of filling a lot of the other holes, and it's where I feel comfortable. And so, we're here now in my studio that I have with Mike Ingber, Studio 601, sweet plug. Yeah, that's where I started my musical journey. Was basically kind of quit performing music for a while and delved into what makes a good record, what makes the music, and what kind of music do I want to make, and really just absorbing the art of creating music and creating it that it lasts forever. And that's like I love older records. I love the Beatles, I love the Stones, I love all that, and I love I went on a journey from that era to forward for even just pop music in general, and just kind of figuring out what it is. And that's came to Austin with my wife, then girlfriend at the time, in 2008, and delved into the scene here and got kind of connected pretty quickly, doing a lot of live sound, and slowly built my studio and opened it here in 2016. But through that process, met Marco. We just kind of stayed friends. I would do I'd bring my sound gear. We would do weddings in like Dallas or something. Somebody loves the Dirty River Boys. I would show up with the gear and put on the show outside of somebody's pool. They're jamming, everybody's getting drunk or whatever. But I'm like multi-track recording them and like taking that back and mixing the Dirty River Boys, just on my laptop and just trying to slowly build that up. So it's kind of weird. I've been doing this with Marco, even outside of Marco and our relationship, but it kind of blossomed during COVID. And he brought a solo record here to the studio, and we started working on that. And I met Trinidad through that, and then met Daniel when Marco was like, I got this keys guy, I want him to play on the record. So he came in, and I was immediately like, Daniel started playing. I don't know, what did you play? Like Mr. Sandman or something. And Daniel has an old style about him, you know, like he's got a super buttery voice, but he leans to all these older styles that, you know, it's, I don't know, it's really good. Yeah. And so it just felt really nice through working through Marco's record that we all started kind of playing together. And it was really like, we should just do this because this is fun. Because we were all kind of burned out in a way of like what music was. And this is COVID, post-COVID. My band kind of broke up that I was in. And it was just, it started as like, let's get together weekly and let's jam. And it was in the studio here. And we mic'd everything up and we just recorded everything and just started working through each other's tunes and passing it back and forth and just hanging out and just liking music and enjoying music for the sake of it, not for like, you know, currently we're in like the business mode and you know, which is the thing which you have to do to kind of work through this. But that was a really kind of a honeymoon period and it was really nice. And so with that, as we're doing this, you know, I'm seeing the potential of we could back up other people, we could do this or that, like what do we want to do? And I kind of just am an ideas man, you know. But it's been through that, you know, just kind of like I just DM'd Colin. Like I grew up with Colin's brother Julian Neal, who's an amazing musician in his own right. And he was a good friend when we moved here. And that's how Haley and I kind of discovered Colin's music then, 2008, and was always a fan. And when we started this, just something told me, like West Texas Exiles, Colin's a West Texas Exile. Like, I just hit him up, like, hey, man, let's do a collaboration. And so he came over, met the guys, and then we kind of planned this Buddy Holly show together. And we did that. And then he was like, man, let's go out to Terlingua. We went out to Terlingua together. It's like kind of separately, but still, we just played together. And then eventually they were like, you just want to do this?
We had to define the relationship.
You just want to be in this band? And so it's since Colin's been in, it just really felt right, and it just felt like completed, and it's helped us exponentially too because Colin's amazing, you know.
Agreed.
I want to just say something real quick. You know, Eric said that he didn't, you know, he's never been in a band where he takes the lead and do that. I think if Eric didn't take the lead in every other aspect, you know, as opposed to being on, we would not be here. Eric does,
Here.
Eric takes the lead in every way. I think he's selling himself short there.
Yeah. Eric has so many ideas and he's always thinking about things and it helps kind of fuel us to think about things. And he kind of, you know, he's the catalyst for a lot of things that is incredible. We're like with Daniel with the art, you know, and building our brand, and with Eric with the ideas, and with Colin's experience in the business, and with the songwriting of Marco, and just what we all are doing together. You know, it's pretty cool like that. Another thing about Eric, he's not talking about. He's talking about punk rock. He's talking about pop. The dude is funky. And he's funky.
Oh yeah,
and we make it smooth, baby. That's all I'm saying. It's sexy smooth. So that's all I gotta say. He is funky.
Right on.
I love that. You guys are like a Swiss Army knife, you know? Yeah, got a little bit of everything in there. Okay, let's talk about what is coming because I want more music. So what are we doing? When are we gonna get some more?
I think one of the crowd favorites at our live show is a song called "Bad Luck." You know, every time we play, people kind of ask for what's when it's coming out. So I guess
Bad Luck's different. Bad Luck is you might not know it by the name of it, but if you saw it in our set, it was like the most dramatic song that we play.
You played it at the Saxon that night, right?
It's longer. It's not your traditional single. It's like a mini little movie and a thing, and it's probably our favorite song to play live. I don't know. It's always we play, for a new crowd, we'll play kind of our pop songs, if you will. You know, like they're very distinct and like, but then we hit Bad Luck and it's like a left turn. And that's what, and we actually took it a different direction. Marco's really producing on it with our boy Mike Ingber, you know, him helping us really realize what the studio version is. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Appreciate it. That's the next step. Yeah, you know, that song started as almost a kind of joke, and then it started becoming serious. And That's very cinematic. That's what's happening next. Bad Luck is going to be the next single. We're hoping to maybe record a cover of the Motorhead's Ace of Spades, done in a unique West Texas Exiles way. And then after that, we have volume 1 out. We have enough songs for volume 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
A plethora. We have a plethora of songs, styles.
A plethora that fits in a cornucopia.
Yes.
I love that. Bad Luck is coming back to me. I'm remembering it. It is quite cinematic. I think it's time, Billy Joel's song Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. It's like 5 songs in one. It's kind of, I like that kind of stuff, where it's like, take us on a little trip, do something different.
Yeah, we can send you a little preview after this.
You'll be so cool.
7th person to hear it. So
yeah, I feel like your descriptions of our music like help me better understand our music. So nice and like specific to you.
I have a tendency to do that. Is it because it must be weird because you don't get that angle of entry in your like you'll probably never be able to hear what you guys are doing with my ears or ears that are just kind of.
That's, you talking to other people helps. Like, honestly, I know we all bounce our music off of our wives, and having Mike as our producer is like having perspective is everything, right?
Yeah.
And that's huge. And I think we give that to each other and we try to utilize that. And again, that's like the having as little ego as we can possibly have to, that's what makes things better, so that's where we're just going to try and get in the studio as much as we can. We're going on a tour where we've got a lot of shows coming up. We're playing festivals. It just gets daily. It gets crazier, honestly. So we got some stuff we can't say yet, but it's really cool. And we got a lot of shows coming up this week, but we're doing a 1-year anniversary show. And we haven't fully announced this yet, but it's our 1-year anniversary is on 5/20.
Nice.
It's the new 420.
It's a new 420.
I love it.
It's 100 better. I don't know. But yeah,
it's one better.
We're working on that, and that's going to be out at Tiny Tea Ranch, and we're going to make it kind of our own thing, have a little kind of mini fest, but it's mostly just us. But there's still vendors and things like that, and we're going to camp, and it'll be cool.
I love it. Well, people are going to start to be able to see this. This is going to air next week on the 25th. So I want to make sure to mention on the 27th, you guys are in Houston at the Mucky Duck. And then the very next day you're playing at Sagebrush. There's a couple other people on the bill, specifically the Selfless Lovers. And I love Nick Parr. I think that like similar dynamic thing happening over there. The dude is like, how does he play that many instruments at the same time? But like, I love it. This is a really good match. I think you guys together, like really solid. People are going to like need a nap after like,
also they're amazing. So we're sorry about that.
Be there.
I know. I'm definitely going to try to make it. Awesome. Let's do a couple superlatives before we end. Like, who takes the longest to get ready in the group? You all
Getting ready.
I think it would probably be Marco.
It may be
because the hair.
Sometimes
but we also have the most hair.
That is true.
We'll
give it to the hair boys.
They also live way far away. And I live like 5 minutes from the studio.
We mostly meet here, and so I can sometimes be late to our own meeting at the studio, but it's
all right, who's like the clown? Who's the funniest?
Oh man.
You know what? I gotta say, every day, maybe like every 10 minutes, Daniel has like a zinger. That's just like
Daniel David.
Daniel's the dad. He's also the only dad in the band. He's the kid. He's the kid of the band.
Oh, that's just they're clever, man. You're clever.
Although there's a comment comes out of each and every one of these dudes that will back you up. So
we're all clowns.
at different times, we're all clowning around sometimes.
Oh, I bet. I'd love to just be a fly on the wall. All right, who's the most organized?
Not me.
I don't. I would say
Eric and Colin.
I would say Colin.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes.
yeah, you.
But then all of a sudden, if I like, they'll be like, "What? What's your problem?" You know, I surprise them.
I think the reason Eric and Colin are the get shit done guys because they're very organized.
Yeah.
Very.
I was a solo guy for many years, so I was my manager and
Yeah.
every name it guy. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll bring to the table what I can.
Yeah.
Who's like morning person? Coffee, get up early. Yeah.
Actually,
No.
kind of now I do, which is
Me,
weird.
well, me and Colin shared a hotel room this last tour, and I was just so excited because he was like, "Coffee!" Like right when he woke up. I was like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's like the first thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Off at school early in the morning, so I'm always just.
Daniel, how many kids do you have?
I've got 2 little girls.
Oh, how old are they?
Una.
Yeah, they're 5 and 3.
Oh my goodness. Anyone else have kiddos? No?
Just
Puppies. Yeah.
furry ones.
Fur babies. Awesome. I love it. Well, guys, thanks so much for stopping by. I'm so happy and I feel privileged to be able to be aware of you now and to help promote you and just sit in the front row and cheer you on. I mean, every word that I say, I listen to so much music. I've said that. And like every once in a while, a band comes along that is just kind of has that thing, that intangible that I've tried my best to articulate tonight, but you guys definitely have it. So whatever you're doing, keep on doing it and enjoy every second and put out more music for us. I know you are. And yeah, we'll see you out there.
Thank you. A lot of days are hard in this lifestyle, and hearing that kind of stuff definitely
You
makes
made my day.
Yeah.
Made my day.
You were great at this, also, Kat.
Oh, thank you.
You're so good at this. So
Thank you.
Takes off because this is great.
And make sure to say hi if you're at a show, please.
Yeah.
I will come and run and tackle you and give you hugs.
I'm waiting. I'll be ready.
All right, guys, this does it for another episode of the Austin Downbeat with the West Texas Exiles. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.